and the whispering woods beckon. You stand at the edge of something extraordinary, a threshold where the familiar world gives way to mysteries older than memory itself. Before you stretches a forest path, worn smooth by countless footsteps across centuries, yet somehow untouched by time. The packed earth beneath your feet feels solid, reassuring, while overhead, ancient oaks and towering pines weave their branches into a living cathedral. This is no ordinary woodland. The very air here carries whispers of secrets, strategic movements hidden beneath layers of moss and shadow. Each tree trunk could tell stories of armies that passed this way, of generals who sought counsel in these depths, of decisions that shaped the course of nations. But tonight, the forest offers something different. Tonight, it offers rest. The path ahead glows with a soft, ethereal light that seems to emanate from the forest floor itself. Bioluminescent fungi dot the base of ancient trees like tiny lanterns, their gentle radiance creating pools of amber and silver that guide your way forward. This natural illumination reveals the forest's intricate architecture, how each fallen log has been positioned by time and weather to create perfect resting spots, how clearings open precisely where the moon's light can filter through. You take your first steps onto this luminous trail, and immediately the sounds of the outside world begin to fade. The distant hum of traffic, the ping of notifications, the endless chatter of a mind still processing the day's complexities, all of it grows quieter with each footfall. In its place, a symphony of natural sounds emerges, the soft rustle of leaves responding to a gentle breeze, the distant call of a night owl, its voice carrying ancient wisdom across the canopy, the barely audible trickle of water somewhere deeper in the woods. Your breathing naturally begins to match the forest's rhythm, deep, slow, deliberate. The air here is different than what you've been breathing all day. It carries the rich scent of loam and growing things, of rain that fell hours ago and is now being absorbed into the earth below. There's something else, too. The faint aroma of night-blooming jasmine, its sweet perfume drifting on currents of air that seem to know exactly where to carry it. As you walk deeper into this sanctuary, you notice how the forest reveals its secrets gradually, like a master strategist unveiling a carefully planned operation. What appeared to be impenetrable darkness from the forest's edge now shows itself to be layered depths, each one containing its own wonders. Shafts of moonlight pierce the canopy at calculated intervals, illuminating patches of wildflowers that seem to glow with their own inner light. Ferns unfurl in perfect spirals beside the path, their mathematical precision a reminder that nature itself follows strategic principles. The path curves gently to the right, following the natural contours of the land. Ancient military engineers would have appreciated this route. It offers clear sight lines while providing natural cover, ascending gradually without taxing the traveler. Someone, or perhaps the forest itself, understood the importance of sustainable progress. Each step forward feels effortless, as if the earth itself is supporting your journey. In a clearing ahead, you catch your first glimpse of your guide for this evening's journey. She sits on a moss-covered boulder, her presence so naturally integrated with the forest that you might have walked past without noticing her. But there's something about her stillness that draws the eye, the way she holds herself with the quiet confidence of someone who has spent years studying the subtle movements of history. Her name is Elena, though you won't learn this immediately. She appears to be in her 40s, with silver threading through dark hair that catches the moonlight like strands of wisdom earned through decades of research. Her clothing is practical yet elegant, a weathered leather jacket over a simple shirt, boots that have walked through countless historical sites, a satchel that undoubtedly contains maps, documents, and artifacts from journeys both physical and intellectual. She looks up as you approach, and her eyes hold that particular spark of someone who has spent their life connecting dots across time and space. These are the eyes of a person who can look at a battlefield and see not just the tactics employed, but the supply chains that made them possible, the intelligence networks that fed information to commanders, the weather patterns that influenced timing. "I wondered when you might arrive," she says, her voice carrying the warm authority of a university professor who has learned to make complex subjects accessible without diminishing their depth. "The forest has been preparing for your visit all evening. Can you feel it, the way the very air seems to be holding space for contemplation?" You realize she's right. There's an expectant quality to the silence around you, as if the ancient trees are leaning in slightly, ready to share their accumulated wisdom. This is a place where minds naturally turn toward deeper questions, where the day's immediate concerns begin to settle into broader contexts. Eleanor rises from her stone seat with the fluid grace of someone comfortable in natural settings. I spend my days immersed in the great strategic decisions of history, she continues, beginning to walk slowly along the path. The calculations that generals made in the pre-dawn hours before major operations, the intelligence assessments that shaped the fate of nations, the logistical miracles that made seemingly impossible campaigns succeed. Her pace is unhurried, inviting. Each step seems carefully chosen, not from uncertainty, but from an appreciation of the journey itself. But I've learned that understanding these decisions requires more than studying maps and reading after-action reports. It requires understanding the minds that made them, the way pressure and responsibility shape thinking, the clarity that can emerge when we step away from immediate concerns and allow ourselves to see larger patterns. The path ahead splits into several routes, each disappearing into different depths of the forest. Some wind upward toward higher ground where ancient watchtowers once stood. Others descend toward hidden valleys where streams carry the whispered secrets of centuries. One particularly inviting trail seems to glow more brightly than the others, as if lit by some inner purpose. Tonight, Eleanor says, pausing at this junction of possibilities, we're going to explore how the greatest strategic minds in history found their clarity, not in the heat of battle, but in moments of quiet reflection, in the spaces between decisions, where wisdom accumulates like morning dew. She gestures toward the glowing path. This route will take us through landscapes where pivotal moments unfolded, but more importantly, through the mental terrain that made those moments possible. We'll walk in the footsteps of leaders who understood that true strategic thinking requires both intense focus and profound calm. As you begin to follow Eleanor down the luminous trail, you notice how the forest seems to respond to your presence. Flowers that were closed moments ago begin to open, releasing subtle fragrances that seem designed to quiet an overactive mind. The bioluminescent fungi pulse gently, their rhythm gradually synchronizing with your heartbeat, which has already begun to slow. The first lesson of strategic thinking, Elena's voice drifts back to you as she moves gracefully ahead, is learning to distinguish between urgency and importance. The forest teaches this beautifully. Everything here operates on multiple timescales simultaneously: the quick flutter of a bat's wing, the patient growth of ancient oaks, the geological processes that shaped these hills over millennia. The path descends gently now, following what must once have been a streambed. Smooth stones create natural stepping stones, each one perfectly placed for easy passage. The sound of your footsteps mingles with the soft night sounds of the forest, creating a rhythm that seems to unlock something deep in your mind, a readiness to receive the wisdom this place has been preserving for centuries. Ahead, the trail curves toward what appears to be a grove, where the trees grow in an almost perfect circle, their trunks forming natural columns that support a ceiling of interwoven branches. Elena pauses at its entrance, turning back with a smile that promises revelations to come. Shall we begin? The crystal stream. You step forward together, crossing the threshold into the sacred grove. The moment your feet touch the moss-covered ground within the circle, you hear it, the gentle murmur of flowing water, like a distant conversation between old friends. Elena's eyes light up with recognition, and she gestures ahead where the sound grows clearer, more inviting. The crystal stream, she says softly, her voice carrying the reverence of someone who has witnessed its magic countless times. Every great strategist, every leader who changed the course of history, needed moments like these. Moments beside moving water, where the mind could flow as freely as the current itself. You follow her deeper into the grove, where the bioluminescent glow of the forest seems to intensify, drawn toward something ahead. The air grows cooler, carrying with it the fresh, clean scent of mountain water and wet stone. Through the cathedral of trees, you catch your first glimpse of it. The stream emerges from between two moss-covered boulders, its water so perfectly clear it seems almost like liquid crystal. The streambed reveals itself in exquisite detail. Smooth stones worn round by centuries of patient flow, their surfaces painted in subtle hues of amber, jade, and deep ocean blue. Some stones catch the forest's ethereal light and hold it, glowing softly from within like captured starlight. Elena leads you to the water's edge, where a natural ledge of granite provides the perfect place to sit. As you settle beside the stream, you notice the water's voice, not just the simple babble you first heard, but a complex symphony. There's the higher note where water dances over pebbles, the deeper bass where it pools around larger stones, and the gentle percussion where droplets fall from an overhanging fern into the current below. Listen, Eleanor whispers, though her voice somehow carries perfectly over the water's song. This is the sound that accompanied some of history's most crucial decisions. Not this exact stream, perhaps, but waters like it. The Thames where Churchill walked during the Blitz, the Potomac where Lincoln found solace during the war's darkest hours, the small creek near Gettysburg where Meade contemplated his next move after that pivotal battle. You lean closer to the water, and that's when you see them. Tiny fish, no larger than your thumb, swimming in graceful formations through the crystal depths. But these are unlike any fish you've ever seen. Their scales shimmer with the same bioluminescent quality as the forest around you, creating small galaxies of light that pulse gently as they move. Schools of them weave between the stones like living constellations, their movements synchronized in patterns that seem almost choreographed. One fish, slightly larger than the others and glowing with a soft golden light, approaches the edge where you sit. It hovers just below the surface, its tiny fins moving in perfect rhythm, and you find yourself thinking of ancient Chinese strategists who found wisdom in observing the natural world. How Sun Tzu himself might have watched fish like these, learning about formation and flow, about when to move with the current and when to hold position against it. Elena notices your fascination. They're called memory keepers, she explains, her voice taking on the tone of someone sharing a closely guarded secret. Legend says they carry within their light the essence of every important decision made near moving water. Each pulse of their glow represents a moment when someone found clarity beside a stream, a river, a waterfall. As if responding to her words, the golden fish pulses brighter, and suddenly you're aware of a presence beside you. Not threatening, but curious, ancient and wise. You turn slowly, and there, perched on a water-smoothed boulder, sits the most remarkable creature you've ever encountered. It's a fox, but unlike any fox from the ordinary world, its fur shimmers between silver and deep blue, like moonlight on water, and its eyes hold the depth of someone who has witnessed centuries pass. Around its neck hangs what appears to be a pendant made from a single perfectly clear stone that matches the stream's crystalline quality. "Ah," Eleanor says with obvious delight, "you've been honored with a visit from Sage. She's the guardian of this stream, the keeper of its stories. She appears only to those whose minds are ready to receive the deeper lessons of strategic thinking." Sage regards you with those ancient eyes, then performs a graceful leap from her boulder to a flat stone in the middle of the stream. The water flows around her perch without creating even the smallest splash, as if it recognizes her right to be there. She settles into a position that reminds you of a meditation pose, her tail curled elegantly around her body, the pendant at her throat catching and reflecting the light from the memory keeper fish below. "She's going to share something with us," Eleanor says quietly. "The stories this stream has collected over the centuries, moments when great leaders came to understand that the most profound strategies often emerge not from frantic planning, but from patient observation, from learning to think like water itself." You watch as Sage closes her eyes and the pendant begins to glow more brightly. The light spreads outward, touching the surface of the stream, and suddenly the water itself becomes a canvas of moving images. Not quite clear enough to be called visions, but impressions, shadows and light that suggest great moments of decision. You see the suggestion of a figure walking beside water under starlight, working through the logistics of moving an army across a river. The shadow of someone sitting by a fountain in a moonlit garden, contemplating how to unite fractured alliances. The outline of a leader standing on a ship's deck, watching the wake spread behind them as they consider how their decisions will ripple through time. The memory keeper fish seem to respond to these images, their golden light pulsing in rhythm with each vision, as if they're adding their own testimony to the stories being shared. The largest fish, the golden one, swims directly beneath Sage's stone, creating a pillar of light that connects the water to the wise guardian above. Elena's voice becomes even softer, blending with the stream's eternal song. This is where we learn the first great lesson of strategic thinking, that clarity comes not from forcing solutions, but from creating the right conditions for understanding to emerge naturally. Like water finding its way around obstacles, the best strategies often reveal themselves when we stop pushing and start flowing. You feel your breathing synchronize with the gentle rhythm of the current, your heartbeat slowing to match the peaceful pulse of the memory keeper's light. The mental tensions from your day, the complex decisions, the analytical challenges, the strategic puzzles. They don't disappear, but they begin to settle like sediment in still water, no longer clouding your thoughts. Sage opens her eyes and looks directly at you, and in that gaze you sense an invitation. Not to solve anything right now, not to analyze or strategize, but simply to be present in this moment beside the crystal stream, where countless others have found the peace that precedes profound insight. The water continues its eternal conversation with the stones. The memory keepers paint their slow ballet of light through the depths, and somewhere in the gentle symphony of this magical place, you feel your mind beginning to flow as smoothly as the crystal current itself. The ancient oak, as the stream's gentle murmur gradually fades behind you, the luminous path curves upward through a grove of silver birches, their pale bark catching and reflecting the soft bioluminescence that seems to emanate from the very air itself. Elena moves ahead with that same graceful certainty, her footsteps silent on the moss-covered ground, while Sage trots alongside you, occasionally glancing up with those knowing amber eyes that seem to hold centuries of accumulated wisdom. The path rises gently, winding through stands of ancient trees that grow progressively larger and more majestic with each step. You notice how the forest itself seems to be leading you somewhere significant, the way the branches part just so, creating natural archways overhead, the way the glowing mushrooms cluster more densely along the path's edges, as if marking the route to something sacred. We approach the heart of this realm, Eleanor says softly, her voice carrying that same measured cadence that has guided you thus far. A place where time moves differently, where the weight of years becomes not a burden but a source of profound strength. And then you see it, rising from a natural clearing ahead, illuminated by countless points of gentle light, stands the most magnificent oak tree you have ever beheld. Its trunk is so vast that 20 people holding hands could not encircle it, its bark deeply furrowed with the wisdom lines of perhaps 1,000 years. The great tree's canopy spreads like a verdant cathedral dome above you, its massive branches reaching outward and upward with such architectural precision that they seem to support the very sky itself. As you draw closer, the true scale of this ancient giant becomes overwhelming in the most peaceful way. The base of the oak is cushioned by moss so thick and soft, it appears to be nature's own velvet carpet, dotted with clusters of luminescent mushrooms that pulse with the same gentle rhythm as a sleeping heart. Some of these fungi spiral up the lower trunk in graceful helixes, their blue-white glow creating patterns that shift and dance as you move around the tree's circumference. The sentinel oak, Eleanor whispers, placing her palm against the deeply grooved bark. For 9 centuries, this tree has stood as witness to the ebb and flow of human ambition, the rise and fall of empires, the quiet moments when great minds found the stillness they needed to see clearly. Sage settles at the base of the oak with a contented sigh, his silver fur seeming to absorb and reflect the ambient light. Many have sought counsel here, the fox says, his voice carrying the warmth of old stories waiting to be told, not from the tree itself, but from the profound peace that such permanence offers to restless minds. You find yourself drawn to sit against the oak's massive trunk, and as your back settles against the ancient bark, you feel something remarkable. A sense of being supported not just physically, but existentially. The tree's presence is so solid, so enduring, that your own daily concerns seem to find their proper perspective in its shadow. Let me share with you, Eleanor says, settling gracefully nearby, the story of how this oak earned its name as the Sentinel. 300 years ago, during a time of great upheaval, a young military strategist found himself faced with an impossible decision. 2 armies approached from different directions, his forces were outnumbered, and every advisor offered contradictory counsel. The weight of thousands of lives rested on his shoulders, and the complexity of the situation seemed to multiply with each passing hour. The bioluminescent mushrooms seem to pulse more gently as Elena speaks, as if the tree itself is listening to its own history being retold. This strategist had been riding for days, his mind churning through scenarios and contingencies until thought itself became a kind of torment. But when he came upon this clearing, when he saw this oak standing in its ancient majesty, something within him simply stopped. You can almost picture it. A weary figure in military dress dismounting from his horse and approaching this same tree, carrying the same kind of mental fatigue that brought you to this forest tonight. He sat where you sit now, Elena continues, and for the first time in weeks, he allowed his mind to be still. Not empty, but still, like a pond that stops rippling and finally reveals what lies beneath the surface. Sage's ears twitch thoughtfully. The tree taught him nothing new about warfare or tactics, but in its presence, surrounded by the evidence of time's vast perspective, he began to see his situation not as an impossible puzzle, but as a pattern he could recognize. The solution, when it came, was elegant in its simplicity, Eleanor adds. Not because the problem had changed, but because his mind had found the clarity to perceive what had been there all along. He went on to achieve one of history's most celebrated strategic victories, not through force or cunning, but through the kind of insight that only comes when we stop trying so hard to grasp it. As this story settles into the peaceful atmosphere around you, you become aware of the oak's subtle presence in a new way. Its roots, you realize, must extend far beneath the forest floor, drawing sustenance from deep springs and ancient soil. Its branches shelter countless creatures. Its leaves process the very air you breathe. Its presence anchors this entire grove in stability and peace. Many others have found their way here over the centuries, Elena says softly. Philosophers wrestling with questions of meaning, leaders facing impossible choices, artists seeking inspiration that seem to dance just beyond their reach. The oak offers them all the same gift. Not answers, but the profound peace in which answers can emerge naturally. You close your eyes and feel your breathing synchronize with some deeper rhythm. Perhaps the slow circulation of sap through the oak's vast network of vessels. Perhaps the patient exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide that has continued here for nearly a millennium. Your mind, which arrived at this forest still churning with the complexities of your demanding day, begins to settle like sediment in still water. There is no urgency here, Sage observes, his voice barely above a whisper. No deadlines or pressing decisions, only the eternal patience of growing things, the wisdom that comes from being deeply rooted while reaching always toward the light. The luminescent mushrooms continue their gentle pulsing, and you find your thoughts beginning to move with the same unhurried rhythm. The strategic challenges that seemed so pressing hours ago remain real, but they no longer feel overwhelming. Like the military strategist of Elena's story, you sense that clarity will come not from forcing solutions, but from allowing your mind the rest it needs to see clearly. Above you, the oak's canopy whispers with the softest of breezes, a sound like ancient secrets being shared between leaves. And in that whisper, in the tree's magnificent presence, in the gentle glow of the mushrooms and the companionable silence of your guides, you feel something precious settling into your awareness. The recognition that wisdom often comes not from thinking harder, but from thinking more peacefully. Here, in the embrace of the sentinel oak, surrounded by the evidence of time's vast patience, you allow yourself to simply be present with whatever thoughts arise, knowing that in this sacred stillness your mind is finding exactly the rest it needs. Hanta, the meadow of dreams. The oak's ancient wisdom settles into your bones as you gradually become aware of a new quality in the air around you. Something lighter, sweeter, carrying the promise of open spaces and sunlight. Elena's presence beside you shifts subtly, and you sense her gentle smile even before she speaks. The path ahead leads us to one of my favorite places, she says softly, her voice carrying a note of anticipation. A meadow where even the most strategic minds have found themselves unexpectedly delighted. As you rise from your resting place against the sentinel oak, your legs feel surprisingly light, as if some invisible burden has been lifted from your shoulders. The bioluminescent path beneath your feet begins to glow with warmer tones, soft golds and gentle ambers that seem to dance with increasing joy as you follow Elena deeper into this mystical landscape. The forest around you gradually opens, the ancient trees stepping back like respectful courtiers making way for something magnificent. And then you see it. Before you stretches a meadow so vibrant, so alive with color, that it seems to pulse with its own heartbeat. This is no ordinary field of grass and wildflowers. This is nature's own masterpiece of strategic beauty. Every bloom positioned as if by some divine military planner who understood that true victory sometimes looks like pure, unbridled joy. The meadow rolls gently away from you in soft undulations, each rise and fall of the land creating natural amphitheaters where different families of flowers have claimed their territories. To your left, a battalion of sunflowers stands at attention, their faces turned toward a moon so bright it might as well be their beloved sun. Their golden petals seem to glow with internal light, and as the gentle breeze moves through them, they sway in perfect unison, a synchronized display that would make any choreographer weep with envy. But it's not just sunflowers. Oh no, this meadow has been planned with the thoroughness of a master strategist. Clusters of lavender create purple rivers that wind between islands of white daisies. Patches of wild roses, their petals ranging from the softest pink to the deepest crimson, form natural boundaries between territories of blue cornflowers and orange marigolds. The fragrance that reaches you is indescribable. It's as if every flower has contributed its finest essence to create a perfume so complex, so layered, that your analytical mind wants to break it down into components, but finds itself simply surrendering to the overwhelming beauty of the whole. This meadow, Eleanor explains, her voice soft with reverence, has witnessed some of history's most brilliant minds discover something they hadn't expected to find in their strategic thinking, the power of pure wonder. As you step into the meadow proper, your feet sink slightly into earth so rich and loamy that each step feels like a gentle massage. The grass beneath the flowers is not uniform green, but a tapestry of shades. Emerald here, sage there, with threads of silver where the moonlight catches the dew that still clings to individual blades despite the warmth in the air. And then you notice the butterflies. They are everywhere, but not in the chaotic way you might expect. Instead, they move through the meadow like a living constellation, each species following its own flight pattern, creating layers of movement that somehow never interfere with each other. Monarchs with their distinctive orange and black wings patrol the higher air currents, while smaller blue butterflies dance closer to the flower tops, and delicate white ones flutter just above the grass like animated snowflakes. Watch them, Eleanor suggests, settling gracefully onto a natural seat formed by a fallen log covered in soft moss. Really watch them. You do as she suggests, and gradually begin to see what she means. The butterflies aren't moving randomly at all. They're following invisible highways through the air. Ancient routes that connect the richest nectar sources, avoid the territories of competing species, and take advantage of the most favorable wind currents. It's aerial logistics on a scale that would impress any supply chain manager, executed with a grace that no human operation could match. A particularly large monarch butterfly detaches itself from the aerial dance and approaches you with what seems like deliberate intent. It circles you once, twice, then settles gently on your outstretched hand. Its wings continue to move slowly, and you can feel the incredibly delicate touch of its feet on your palm. For a moment, you're connected to this tiny creature whose ancestors navigate thousands of miles using navigation systems that scientists still don't fully understand. Even Napoleon, Eleanor says quietly, watching your interaction with the butterfly, kept a garden. Wellington was known to spend hours studying not just battlefields, but flower beds. They understood something that our modern world sometimes forgets, that strategic thinking requires not just analysis, but inspiration. And inspiration often comes from beauty. The butterfly on your hand seems to pulse with life, its wings catching the moonlight in ways that create tiny rainbows across its surface. You find yourself thinking about the incredible journey this creature represents, the genetic memory that guides it across continents, the perfect timing that coordinates its life cycle with the blooming of specific flowers, the aerodynamic efficiency of wings so thin they're nearly transparent, yet strong enough to carry their owner thousands of miles. As the monarch finally takes flight, rejoining its aerial companions, you notice that your breathing has changed. The tight, controlled rhythm you've carried from your demanding day has given way to something deeper, more natural. Each breath draws in not just air, but the essence of this magical place. The sweetness of the flowers, the freshness of the grass, the pure joy that seems to emanate from every living thing in this meadow. You walk deeper into the field, Eleanor beside you, and discover that different areas of the meadow offer different experiences. In one section, the flowers grow taller, creating natural walls that form intimate chambers where the fragrance is more concentrated and the butterfly activity more intense. In another area, the ground rises to form a gentle hill, where shorter flowers create a carpet so dense and colorful it looks like a living painting. This is where Patton came, Elena mentions as you reach the hill's crest, in his dreams anyway. The night before D-Day, when the weight of what was coming pressed so heavily on his shoulders that sleep seemed impossible. He found himself here, in this meadow, watching butterflies and remembering that even in the midst of the most serious strategic challenges, there must be room for wonder, for the recognition that we fight not just against darkness, but for beauty. The view from the hilltop reveals the meadow's full scope, acres and acres of carefully orchestrated natural beauty stretching to the horizon. But rather than overwhelming you, the vastness feels comforting. This is abundance without chaos, complexity without confusion. Every element has its place, serves its purpose, contributes to the magnificent whole. A gentle breeze picks up, and the entire meadow responds like a living symphony. The sunflowers rustle in bass tones. The smaller flowers create middle harmonies, and the grass provides a soft percussion as thousands of blades brush against each other. The butterflies ride the air currents with obvious delight, their flight patterns becoming even more playful as they surf the invisible waves. You lie back in the soft grass, looking up at the star-filled sky, and feel something you hadn't expected, pure, uncomplicated happiness. Not the satisfaction of solving a problem or completing a task, but the simple joy of being present in a moment of perfect beauty. Your strategic mind, so accustomed to analyzing and planning, finds itself content to simply observe, to let the wonder of this place wash over you without needing to understand or categorize every element. The flowers around you seem to pulse gently with bioluminescent light, creating a natural rhythm that matches your increasingly peaceful heartbeat. In this meadow of dreams, surrounded by beauty too complex for analysis, yet simple enough for pure appreciation, you discover that sometimes the most strategic thing you can do is simply allow yourself to feel joy. And the silent cave. As you rest in this meadow of dreams, feeling the gentle pulse of bioluminescent flowers around you, Elena's voice carries softly on the evening breeze. "Come," she whispers, her hand extended toward you with the same gentle confidence that has guided you through this magical landscape. There is one more place, a sanctuary where the greatest strategic minds in history have found their deepest clarity. You rise slowly, reluctantly leaving the meadow's vibrant beauty, but trusting in Elena's wisdom. The flowers seem to bid you farewell with a final synchronized pulse of soft light, their glow gradually fading as you follow Elena toward the edge of the clearing. Ahead, you notice the landscape beginning to change once more. The open meadow gives way to gentle slopes covered in moss so soft it seems to cushion every step. Ancient stones, worn smooth by countless centuries, emerge from the earth like sleeping giants. The air grows cooler here, fresher, carrying with it the deep, clean scent of underground springs and mineral-rich earth. Eleanor moves with purpose now, but her pace remains unhurried, almost ceremonial. Throughout history, she explains, her voice taking on a reverent quality, the most profound strategic breakthroughs have emerged not from frantic activity, but from profound stillness. The cave we approach has sheltered countless leaders during their moments of greatest uncertainty. As you follow the winding path between the moss-covered stones, you begin to see it, partially hidden behind a curtain of trailing vines and delicate ferns. The entrance to a cave, but not the dark, forbidding opening you might expect. Instead, a soft blue light emanates from within, gentle and welcoming, like moonlight filtered through the clearest water. The vines that partially conceal the entrance move gently in an unfelt breeze, creating shifting patterns of shadow and light across the cave mouth. Each vine seems alive with its own subtle bioluminescence, tiny points of light that pulse slowly, rhythmically, like a heartbeat at perfect rest. This, Eleanor says softly, is the silent cave. Here the noise of the world cannot follow. Here the pressure of decisions dissolves into clarity. You approach the entrance and immediately feel the difference in the air. It's noticeably cooler, but not cold, refreshing in the way that only perfectly clean, mineral-rich air can be. Each breath feels cleansing, washing away the residual tension from your demanding day, carrying away the weight of complex problems that seemed so urgent just hours ago. Elena steps through the vine curtain first, and you follow, entering a space that defies your expectations entirely. The silent cave opens before you like a natural cathedral. The ceiling arches high above, supported by graceful columns of flowstone that have formed over millennia. But what captures your attention immediately is the light. That same gentle blue radiance you glimpsed from outside, but now you can see its source. The walls themselves seem to glow with a soft internal luminescence, as if the very stone has absorbed moonlight and starlight for thousands of years and now releases it in the gentlest possible way. The light is steady, unwavering, creating a sense of timeless peace that settles into your bones. Crystalline deposits, Eleanor explains softly, though her voice seems almost unnecessary in this sacred space, formed over countless ages, each one holding just enough light to create this sanctuary of peace. The floor of the cave is covered in the finest sand you've ever seen, so soft it seems to welcome each step, molding gently around your feet as you move deeper into this underground sanctuary. The sound of your footsteps is absorbed completely, creating a silence so profound it feels almost tangible. Near the center of the cave, you discover a natural alcove, a curved recess in the stone wall that forms a perfect resting place. The stone here has been worn smooth by countless visitors over the centuries. Polished to a finish so perfect, it feels like silk beneath your touch. Elena settles beside this alcove, her movements graceful and unhurried. Here, she says, Marcus Aurelius found the clarity to write his meditations. Here, Joan of Arc understood her true purpose. Here, Lincoln composed the words that would heal a divided nation, though he would not speak them for months to come. You lower yourself into the alcove and immediately understand why this place has drawn history's greatest strategic minds. The stone cradles you perfectly, supporting your back while allowing your shoulders to relax completely. The temperature is ideal. The soft blue light creates a sense of infinite space while maintaining perfect intimacy. The cave's silence, Eleanor continues, her voice barely above a whisper, is not empty silence. It is full silence, complete silence, the kind of profound quiet that allows you to hear your own wisdom. As you settle more deeply into the stone alcove, you become aware of subtle sounds that exist within the silence. The distant whisper of underground water, moving slowly through hidden channels, carrying minerals and memories through passages carved over geological ages. The almost inaudible resonance of air moving through the cave's natural ventilation, a breathing so slow and deep it seems to match the respiration of the earth itself. Your mind, which arrived here still processing the day's complex challenges, still analyzing and strategizing and planning, begins to release its grip on these concerns. Not because the problems aren't important, but because this place offers something more valuable than immediate solutions. It offers perspective. Notice, Eleanor says gently, how your thoughts begin to settle, like sediment in still water. The urgent seems less urgent. The complex reveals its simple core. The overwhelming becomes manageable. You feel this happening as she speaks. The business decisions that seemed so critical this morning, the strategic challenges that consumed your afternoon, the analysis work that followed you home. All of it remains present in your mind, but transformed. What felt like crushing weight now feels like interesting puzzles, problems to be solved with patience rather than pressure. The blue light pulsing gently from the cave walls seems to synchronize with your breathing, or perhaps your breathing synchronizes with it. Each inhalation brings in that perfectly clean, mineral-rich air. Each exhalation releases another layer of tension you didn't even know you were carrying. This is what the greatest strategic minds understood, Eleanor continues. her voice becoming even softer, more distant, as if she's sharing secrets meant only for this sacred space. True clarity comes not from thinking harder, but from thinking more quietly, not from analyzing more, but from analyzing more peacefully. You close your eyes and feel the stone's ancient support beneath you. Feel the cave's protective embrace around you. Feel the earth's deep stability holding you safely in this moment of perfect rest. The problems of your day haven't disappeared, but they've transformed into opportunities for patient wisdom rather than urgent stress. The cave's silence deepens around you, not the absence of sound, but the presence of peace. In this profound quiet, you understand what Elena means about hearing your own wisdom. Beneath the noise of daily demands, beneath the pressure of complex decisions, beneath the endless stream of analysis and planning, there exists a deeper knowing. This knowing doesn't shout or demand attention. It whispers, it suggests, it offers gentle guidance to those wise enough to create space for listening. In the silent cave, surrounded by stone that has witnessed centuries of human struggle and triumph, cradled by earth that has supported countless generations of seekers, you finally have space to hear these whispers. Your breathing slows to match the cave's ancient rhythm. Your heartbeat settles into the same steady pulse that has echoed in this space since time immemorial. The blue light continues its gentle emanation, not bright enough to stimulate, just bright enough to remind you that even in the deepest rest, even in the most profound stillness, there is always light. Rest now. Eleanor's voice comes from somewhere far away, or perhaps from deep within your own peaceful mind. Let the cave hold your worries. Let the stone bear the weight of your decisions. Let the earth's patience become your patience. In this moment of perfect sanctuary, surrounded by the silent cave's protective embrace, you discover that the most strategic thing you can do is exactly this. Simply rest in the profound peace of knowing you are completely, utterly, safely held. The starry canopy. As this profound peace settles deep within your being, Elena's gentle voice reaches you through the cave's sacred stillness. Come, she whispers softly. There's something magnificent waiting for you beyond these ancient walls. With the cave's protective energy still embracing you, you rise slowly from your place of rest, feeling lighter than you have in days. The stone beneath your feet seems to pulse with quiet encouragement, as if the earth itself is supporting your every step toward whatever wonder awaits. Elena leads you through the cave's winding passages, each turn revealing glimpses of something extraordinary ahead. A soft, silvery light begins to filter through the darkness, not harsh or demanding, but gentle and inviting, like moonlight dancing on still water. The greatest strategic minds throughout history, Eleanor says softly as you walk, understood that perspective comes from stepping back, from seeing the larger picture, from recognizing their place in something far grander than any single decision or challenge. The cave's entrance grows larger before you, and with each step, that mysterious silver light grows stronger, more beautiful, more welcoming. You can feel something shifting in the very air around you, a sense of openness, of infinite possibility, of connection to something vast and wonderful. And then, you emerge. The sight that greets you takes your breath away completely. Above you, stretching endlessly in every direction, is the most spectacular starry sky you have ever witnessed. Thousands upon thousands of stars pierce the velvet darkness, each one burning with its own ancient light, creating a tapestry of wonder that seems to stretch into eternity itself. "Oh my," you whisper, and Elena smiles beside you, her eyes reflecting the starlight like pools of liquid silver. The Milky Way sweeps across the heavens in a magnificent arc, a river of light flowing from horizon to horizon, containing billions of stars, countless worlds, infinite mysteries. Its ethereal glow bathes the landscape around you in the softest, most peaceful radiance, making everything seem touched by magic. You find yourself naturally settling onto a smooth patch of grass, your head tilting back to take in the full majesty of this celestial display. Eleanor sits beside you, her presence warm and comforting, as you both gaze upward in reverent silence. "Napoleon used to study the stars," she says eventually, her voice barely above a whisper, perfectly suited to this sacred moment, not just for navigation, but for perspective. When the weight of empire pressed upon his shoulders, when decisions seemed impossible, he would step outside his tent and look up at exactly this same sky. You can almost see him, the great strategist, standing alone beneath these very constellations, finding his center in their timeless presence. The stars that shine down on you now witnessed his triumphs and defeats, his moments of brilliant clarity and profound doubt, yet they remained constant, eternal, peacefully indifferent to the temporary struggles of earthly concerns. There's Polaris. Elena points gently to the North Star, steady and unwavering in its position. For centuries, it guided explorers across unknown seas, helped generals navigate foreign territories, showed countless travelers the way home. Always reliable, always there, a fixed point in an ever-changing world. As you focus on that single constant star, you feel something settling in your own mind, a recognition that some things endure beyond the daily pressures, beyond the urgent decisions, beyond the complex challenges that filled your day. There is something deeply comforting in this realization, like finding solid ground beneath shifting sands. Your eyes drift to Orion, the mighty hunter, his belt of 3 stars perfectly aligned, his shoulders marked by brilliant Betelgeuse and Bellatrix. The ancient Greeks saw a great warrior there, Eleanor murmurs, but the Aboriginal Australians saw the emu in the sky, and the Lakota people saw the Hand constellation. The same stars, infinite interpretations, each culture finding its own meaning in the patterns. This thought fills you with a gentle wonder, the idea that perspective itself can transform what we see, that the same challenges that seemed so overwhelming hours ago might appear entirely different when viewed from this expanded vantage point. Under this vast canopy of ancient light, a shooting star suddenly streaks across the darkness, a brief, brilliant flash that draws a soft gasp of delight from your lips. Make a wish, Elena whispers playfully, and you find yourself not wishing for solutions to tomorrow's problems, but simply feeling grateful for this moment, this peace, this connection to something infinitely larger than yourself. The constellation Cassiopeia spreads her distinctive W shape across the northern sky, and you remember that she was said to be a queen, beautiful but vain, placed in the heavens as both honor and humbling reminder. Even in the stars, there are stories of leadership, of the balance between confidence and humility, of the eternal dance between ambition and wisdom. Churchill had a ritual, Elena shares softly. During the darkest days of the war, when the fate of nations hung in the balance, he would step out onto the roof of the cabinet war rooms and look up at the stars. His bodyguards thought he was checking for bombers, but his daughter later revealed he was seeking perspective, remembering that even world wars are brief moments in the cosmic story. You breathe deeply, feeling the cool night air fill your lungs, carrying with it the scent of distant flowers and the clean, pure essence of starlight itself. Each breath seems to expand not just your chest, but your entire sense of being, as if you're breathing in the vastness itself, becoming part of this infinite tapestry. The Great Bear, Ursa Major, wheels slowly overhead, its familiar pattern a comfort to humans for millennia. Somewhere in that constellation, light that began its journey toward Earth when great libraries flourished in Alexandria, when strategic minds pondered questions not so different from those that occupied your thoughts today, finally reaches your eyes in this perfect moment of reception. Every photon of starlight, Eleanor explains with gentle wonder, has traveled across unimaginable distances. Through the vacuum of space, past planets and asteroids and cosmic dust, all to arrive at precisely this moment, to meet your eyes, to become part of your experience. You are literally seeing ancient light, connecting across time and space with the universe itself. This thought fills you with profound awe, the realization that you are not separate from this cosmic dance, but intimately connected to it, made of the same elements forged in stellar cores, breathing atoms that once existed in the hearts of dying stars, your very consciousness arising from the same fundamental forces that ignite those distant suns. As you lie there, surrounded by this celestial cathedral, you feel the last tensions of your demanding day simply dissolving into the vastness, becoming as insignificant as they truly are in the grand scheme of things. not because your work doesn't matter, but because you are part of something so much larger, so much more magnificent than any single concern or challenge. The stars continue their ancient dance above you, patient, eternal, wise, holding space for your rest, your peace, your growing connection to the infinite wisdom that flows through all things, including you. The lullaby of the fireflies. As you lie there beneath the infinite canopy, something magical begins to stir in the darkness around you. At first, it's just a single point of light, a tiny golden spark that appears near the edge of your vision, dancing gently through the warm night air like a living jewel. Elena's voice carries the softest note of wonder. And now, the forest reveals one of its most enchanting secrets. Another light appears, then another, as if the stars themselves have descended to dance among the trees. These are fireflies, nature's own strategists of illumination, each one carrying its perfect spark through the darkness with ancient purpose. The first few become dozens, dozens become hundreds, until the entire forest around you transforms into a living constellation. Each firefly pulses with its own gentle rhythm, creating patterns of light that shift and flow like luminous thoughts across the landscape of night. Watch how they move, these tiny architects of wonder, their flight paths seemingly random yet somehow perfectly choreographed. Like the great military minds Elena has shared with you, they demonstrate that true strategy often appears effortless, natural, as if the right decisions simply emerge from deep understanding rather than forced analysis. The soft buzzing of their wings creates the gentlest of soundscapes, a barely audible hum that seems to resonate in your chest, in your bones, like the universe's own lullaby. This sound, so subtle you almost have to listen for it, begins to synchronize with your breathing, your heartbeat, drawing you deeper into the peaceful rhythm of the night. Some fireflies drift close enough that you can see their tiny forms, delicate creatures no larger than your thumbnail, yet each one carrying light that can pierce the deepest darkness. Elena's voice grows even softer. Throughout history, the greatest strategic breakthroughs often came not from massive force, but from small, precisely placed illuminations, moments of clarity that changed everything. The patterns they create tell stories without words, swirling galaxies of golden light that expand and contract like breathing, linear formations that march across clearings with military precision before dissolving into joyful chaos, clusters that gather and disperse like thoughts forming and releasing in a peaceful mind. You find your eyes growing heavy as you follow their hypnotic dance, the way they rise and fall in gentle waves, appearing and disappearing in perfect timing, each blink of light like a small meditation, a tiny moment of presence that asks nothing of you except to witness, to appreciate, to rest. The fireflies seem to sense your growing tranquility, drifting closer, creating an intimate circle of soft illumination around your resting place. Their light is nothing like the harsh glare of screens or artificial sources. This is gentle, warm, alive, the kind of light that soothes rather than stimulates, that invites rest rather than alertness. Elena's presence remains close, protective, as she continues to share the wisdom of this magical moment. The ancient Chinese strategists spoke of WWII, action through non-action, achieving goals not through force but through alignment with natural flow. Like these fireflies, the most effective leaders learned to move with effortless precision, to illuminate exactly what needed to be seen, when it needed to be seen. The buzzing grows even softer, or perhaps your mind is simply settling deeper into peace, the sound becoming part of the background symphony of night, mixing with the distant whisper of leaves, the gentle movement of air, the subtle sounds of a forest breathing in perfect contentment. Some fireflies begin to settle on nearby branches, their lights pulsing more slowly now, like tiny lanterns marking a safe path through dreams. Others continue their aerial ballet, but even their movements seem more languid, more peaceful, as if the entire forest is preparing for the deepest rest. You notice how your analytical mind, so active and demanding just hours ago, has grown quiet in the presence of this natural wonder. There's nothing to solve here, nothing to optimize or strategize, just the simple joy of witnessing beauty, of being present to magic. of allowing yourself to be part of something larger and more mysterious than any challenge you face. The firefly's glow seems to pulse in harmony with your slowing heartbeat, each gentle flash a reminder that illumination comes not from constant brightness, but from the rhythm of light and rest, clarity and mystery, action and peaceful waiting. Elena's voice becomes barely a whisper. Let their ancient wisdom guide you now into the restful darkness between the lights, where the deepest strategies are born, where the clearest vision emerges, where your mind can finally, completely, beautifully rest. The lullaby of the fireflies continues, their gentle buzzing, their hypnotic dance, their perfect timing, carrying you deeper into tranquility, deeper into peace, deeper into the magical space where sleep and dreams await. Drifting into sleep, the lullaby of the fireflies continues, their gentle buzzing, their hypnotic dance, their perfect timing, carrying you deeper into tranquility, deeper into peace, deeper into the magical space where sleep and dreams await. And now, see, as you rest here in this sacred grove, a gentle evening breeze begins to stir, soft as a whisper, warm as a mother's touch, moving through the ancient branches above you, rustling the leaves with the softest, most peaceful sound, like nature herself is humming a lullaby just for you. The wind carries with it the accumulated wisdom of all the great strategic minds who have walked these paths before you, all the clarity they discovered in moments of quiet reflection, all the peace they found when they allowed themselves to simply breathe and trust and rest. Feel that wisdom settling around you now, like the gentlest blanket, protecting you, comforting you, reminding you that in sleep, in dreams, in the quiet darkness, the most profound insights are born. Elena's presence remains beside you, though her voice grows softer now, more distant, like an echo from a beautiful dream. You have walked the ancient paths tonight, she whispers. You have discovered what the greatest leaders throughout history have always known, that true strategic clarity, true wisdom, true strength, comes not from constant thinking, but from allowing the mind to rest, to release, to trust in the deeper intelligence that emerges when we finally, completely, let go. The fireflies continue their eternal dance, their lights growing softer, more distant, like stars fading into dawn, their gentle buzzing becoming part of your own rhythm, part of your own breath, part of your own peaceful heartbeat. Each tiny light carries away another concern from your day, another tension from your shoulders, another thought that no longer needs your attention, leaving only peace, only calm, only the deep satisfaction of a mind that has found its way home. The stream you discovered earlier, with its memory keeper fish, continues its ancient song somewhere in the distance, that eternal flow of water over stone, carrying away everything that no longer serves you, everything that kept your mind busy today, everything that prevented you from feeling this deep, this peaceful, this completely at rest. Let that gentle current take it all, wash it all away, leaving only clarity, only calm, only the profound peace of knowing that in sleep all is well. The sentinel oak stands watch over your dreams, its thousand-year presence a reminder that some things endure, some things remain constant, some things provide shelter and strength no matter what storms may come. Feel its ancient roots beneath you, its protective canopy above you, its timeless wisdom surrounding you, holding space for the deepest, most restorative sleep, where your mind can process, integrate, and prepare for tomorrow with renewed clarity and strength. The meadow's flowers release their gentle fragrance into the night air. Lavender and chamomile, rose and jasmine, all the scents that have soothed human minds for thousands of years, all the natural remedies that invite the nervous system to finally, completely, beautifully surrender to rest. Breathe them in. Let them fill your lungs, your bloodstream, your entire being with their ancient promise of peace, of healing, of perfect sleep. The cave's blue light continues to glow softly in your memory. That sacred space where silence taught you its deepest lessons, where you learned that not every moment requires analysis. Not every question requires an immediate answer. Not every challenge requires your conscious attention right now. Some things can wait. Some things can rest. Some things can simply be held in the gentle darkness of sleep, where solutions often emerge without effort, where clarity often arrives like dawn, naturally, inevitably, perfectly. Above you, the stars continue their eternal watch, those same constellations that guided ancient navigators, that inspired great leaders to see beyond their immediate circumstances, that reminded them of their place in something infinitely larger, infinitely more mysterious, infinitely more beautiful than any single day's concerns. Let their light bless your dreams. Let their vastness put everything in perspective. Let their ancient presence remind you that you are held, you are guided, you are exactly where you need to be. And now, as the gentle wind carries you deeper into sleep, as the fireflies fade into dreams, as Elena's whispered wisdom becomes part of your own inner knowing, let yourself drift completely into that peaceful darkness where the mind rests, where the body heals, where tomorrow's clarity is quietly being born, and where you can finally, completely, beautifully sleep.